You know that moment in a game where you're given a choice and one of them is, well, let's just say a little bit questionable. Like, you are the hero, or at least that's what you should be. But then this one path opens up where you can hurt, betray, or even destroy something or someone for the sake of your own goals. And you choose it. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't always feel bad, does it? In fact, sometimes it feels pretty good. So why is that? Why do we sometimes want to play the villain? Well, stick around, because today we are diving into the surprising and complex psychology behind why we make these choices and what it says about us as people. You might even start questioning the decisions you made in your own favorite games. And trust me, by the end of this, you see those villain choices in a whole new light. But we've all been there, right? A game presents you with the opportunity to take control. Literally, you can wield power like never before. It's intoxicating. Take The Witcher 3, for example. Geralt, a badass monster hunter, already has power. He's a force to be reckoned with. But when you choose to betray someone for personal gain, that's not just power, that's absolute control over someone else's fate. And for a moment, you feel it. You've got the upper hand, and it's a rare feeling, especially in real life. You can make someone squirm, bend others to your will, and navigate the world as a manipulator. And there's something that feels, well, good about it. It's human nature. We all crave a little bit of control. Games give us a chance to experience that in a way that the real world doesn't allow. It's a fantasy of power that we're free to indulge in without worrying about any consequence. And honestly, what could be more tempting than that? But you know what else makes playing the villain so appealing? Freedom. Pure freedom. Real life? It's all about rules, expectations, and responsibility.
Boring.
But in the world of decision-based games, you're not bound by that. The game offers a choice, and you have the freedom to act on it without having to think about the aftermath in the real world. Take GTA. You're given free reign to make decisions that would get you locked up in the real world. Murder, theft, chaos. You name it! But within the game, there's no real consequence to your actions. You're free to do whatever you want without fear of spilling it over into your real life. And that sense of freedom, it's addictive. It's almost like you're temporarily liberated from the responsibilities and boundaries that hold you down outside of the game. And sometimes, who wouldn't want that? But let's be honest. Sometimes, it's about the emotional rush of making a tough decision. Sure, we all love a feel-good story where we make the noble, selfless choice. But there's something deeply satisfying about tapping into our darker side in a controlled environment. Think about Mass Effect 2. You're given the choice to sacrifice one of your crew members to save the rest. The stakes are high, and you feel it. But in that moment, it's not just about strategy, it's about feeling what it's like to make that impossible choice. It's a psychological challenge. You don't necessarily want to hurt someone, but you're curious about what it feels like to take that step, even if it's just virtual. That emotional thrill of making a decision with real consequences in the game world, it's powerful. And honestly, sometimes that darker side of you just wants to see if you can go there. It's all about testing boundaries, seeing what it feels like to cross the line without any true repercussions. So, when we choose the villain path in a game, it's not just about the immediate payoff. It's about what those choices say about us. Games like Undertale make us confront our morals head on. You can play the pacifist route, be the good guy, or you can choose to kill every character you meet. The game shows you the impact of your decisions. Characters remember what you've done, and those memories, they stick with you. It's like holding up a mirror to your own values. You start asking yourself, what kind of person am I really? Games give us the chance to explore our darker impulses in a safe space. And it's not necessarily about being bad. It's about discovering how we respond to situations where we could do harm and why we choose to do it. Here's the thing. Sometimes the villain path doesn't feel like fun. It feels like a weight. Take The Walking Dead. You choose who lives and who dies. You think you're in control. But then, consequence of those choices come crashing down and you feel the weight of it. That feeling of regret is intense. It's not just guilt, it's the realization that your actions have real consequences. It's a hard pill to swallow. And sometimes, that regret stays with you long after the game is over. Why? Because it's real. Even in a fictional world, our choices matter. And when you're playing the villain, sometimes you have to sit with that feeling. So, with that being said, sometimes the villain path isn't just about being bad. It's about understanding. Games like Spec Ops, the line shows us that villains aren't always evil. They're often just people in difficult situations, making decisions out of desperation, trauma, or fear. In The Last of Us, the game flips your perspective. You're not just playing a villain, you're seeing the world through their eyes. You're forced to empathize, to understand why they did what they did. And you start to realize something important. There's no such thing as a perfect hero, and there's no such thing as an irredeemable villain. We are all just human. We all have our reasons. See, games, they don't just ask us to be good. They ask us to understand why others might do the things they do. And that empathy, it's a huge part of the emotional depth that makes these games so powerful. But at the end of the day, they let us explore emotions, choices, and consequences without the fear of real-life consequences. In the real world, we don't always get the luxury of making selfish or impulsive decisions without risking everything. But in games, we can play with those emotions. So, when you play the villain in a game, you're not just making a bad choice, you're experimenting, you're learning, and growing. But we are complex. We are not defined by our worst decision or our most heroic ones. We are defined by the journey we go on, the choices we make, and how we learn from them. So the next time you pick the villain route, remember, it's not just about power, control, or revenge. It's about understanding the layers of humanity and discovering who you really are when nobody's watching.